It's the next day, and after a long drive, we're finally getting close to the river. The weather's fantastic, with the forecast promising more of the same in the days to come. So our confidence is high that we'll find a few more of the big fellas. We'll only have a brief window today, given it's now mid-afternoon, and we're keen to stretch the legs and scout some spots for tomorrow, and maybe even winkle one or two out. To me, fly fishing is much more than just catching fish. The planning, anticipation, and effort to get to your chosen spot all serve to build the excitement levels, fueled even more by the burning questions of whether or not you've made the right decisions. Will the fish be on the feed? And if so, will we unlock the puzzle of what they're eating? Plus, I guess, the prospect of simply spending time in the outdoors with good mates. As we finally pull up to park, we have a quick chat to formulate a plan that will allow us to be at our intended camp spot, which is a farmer's hut, early evening.
It's good to probably makes sense if we walk down a bit and push our way up.
You go down,
Yeah,
down there.
just around the corner there, and then just fish up here,
Yeah.
and then just look how far we get. And I hope it's not heavy.
Having set a plan to fish the main river tomorrow, we've headed down to a small tributary for the late afternoon scouting mission. We've left Jan's wagon on a track near the top of the creek to save us a long walk back, and we hustle upstream to make the most of a limited time we have before continuing on to our camp spot. I've found a good fish, but glare on the surface from my angle is making it tricky to see.
I will go a meter longer. Good, watch it. Over the fish now. Yep. There we go. Ooh, that's a nice one.
Jelly going in his ass. I haven't seen him yet, but... Unfortunately, it appears that a small fish has poached the fly out from in front of a much bigger one. The young one's giving you a bloody runabout. Hey, it's got fins.
It does. Good fish for an evening stroll though.
Well, this wasn't the one we were fishing to. He was probably about 2 to 3 times the size of this, but this guy decided he wanted that nymph in front of him, so
Got fins.
he's got fins, yeah. They all count, and they're all fun. Okay, back he goes. Thanks, fella. Oh, you're up.
Looking for it.
No doubt it'll be a bloody fish twice the size. Jan soon finds a good brown, finning gently in some shallow pocket water, and thinks he might just come up for a cicada, even if it is late in the day. The fish obliges by moving over a metre to take it. It's a beautiful brown trout that Jan soon has on his way back home. Not too far upstream, I find a solid fish and hope to join the dry fly party with a fresh cicada tied on. My elation on getting the dry fly eat turns to horror as the fly comes out. Little did I know that my luck was about to change.
Probably that was the fish of my whole trip this year, because we approached that pool, it was almost dark, it was about 8:30. I had a look from a clip down into the pool, and I saw that humongous fish chasing a smaller fish, but it probably was also a double. And you know, I told you, like, that must be a 20-pound fish that's just cruising the pool. And then we suddenly saw that fish just laying on the edge of the river doing nothing. And then it almost was dark, and it is a mice here, so I just told you, like, just as a joke, just put on a mice and just chuck it over him. Just look what's happening, because he's not moving anyway.
What fly do you have on, Mike?
I have, it's a little brown emerger. I'll show you. It's going to slowly, a little brown emerger is going to slowly emerge.
That's a mice.
Yeah. Hey, mousey, mousey. Well, this big fish up here is lazing out at the edge. He's just sort of come out this time of night, where I know you wait till after dark, but we haven't got that luxury. So I'm going to slap that down and give it a couple of and see if he hits it. I'll go this way. After getting no interest at all, we gave the huge fish another 10 minutes, just to allow it to get darker, before I crept closer and had another go.
Oh! That was the mice! Micky, Mike. So, Mike, the first fish on a mice pattern, I guess?
Oh no, I've caught them on mice before, but first this year. And I haven't actually caught one on dusk on a mouse ever, and I haven't caught this yet by any stretch. That is really heavy.
It was a good idea. I had to put on a mouse pattern.
Yeah, you got me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tank. I actually dropped it, and finally I actually dropped it on his nose and twitched it
right in front of his nose. Actually,
I have it on,
landed
I have
there.
it on camera.
The thing with these guys is they grow so fast, they lose their energy a bit quicker because their heart doesn't grow and keep up with the bulk they've got, and they fatigue a bit quicker than you'd think. Well, I'm saying that, I'm hoping. I just hope that bloody hook holds.
Ooh.
Even though the camera does a good job of showing the action, it's now deep into twilight and almost dark.
I could be absolutely mistaken.
I would say it's more than that.
Trying to muscle him. Being a little premature getting the net off, but don't want him to try and turn him. Don't want him to run down out of the pool. Not put any more pressure than this on him. He's a heavyweight.
Oh, it's a big fish,
Yeah,
mate.
he's big, yeah. Just the weight is just ridiculous. And I'm aware of the fact that we're going to run out of light to even film them. I'm actually locking up on them a little bit now. Hopefully it's not my
I don't force him.
right, but he's got huge power. The one thing I did when he took that mouse is I jammed it as hard as I bloody could into his jaw.
Every time I got him close to the bank, he surged away again into the deeper water with the power of a tractor.
Just watch the rod there, just about hitting me. Come on, this time.
There we go, Mike.
And after an
very clear.
intensive 5-minute fight, when it almost was dark, you landed probably the biggest backcountry fish I ever saw in my life. And it was just so funny. I mean, it was thinking a little bit outside of the box. I mean, he probably saw already hundreds of different nymphs and tries. Just before it went dark, just a mice over it, and he took it.
Good catch, Mike.
That's awesome, eh?
Show him from the side. It's a big fish.
Yeah. Here, you got it.
Look at that fish caught on a mice pattern.
Nice, just on dusk, and estimated probably about 16 pound. Bottomed out the 14 pound weigh net. Oh, big fella.
Strong boy.
Look at that.
Congrats, Mike.
Okay, thanks, mate.
Probably one of the biggest browns you've caught so far, no?
Yeah, the biggest I've recorded, that's for sure. Okay, back in.
Yeah, back in. Bye bye.
Okay, see you guys.
But when I went down and looked at him, you know, the magnitude of what I was looking at really hit home. And it was a colossal fish. And an enduring memory I actually have is when I released him, and with a lot of mouse fish you've got to be very careful. You know, they're basically outgrowing their ability to pump blood around their bodies at times. Their heart's not big enough anymore and they can actually die. So you've got to be very careful. And I slid him away and he just rolled a little. And I went, oh, and I went and grabbed his tail, brought him out and just set him in a little bit of current. And then he just pulled away and sat on the bottom. And I was looking down at him and it looked like a dolphin. Absolutely unbelievable to look down, how thick he was right to his tail. And he still wasn't moving, so I grabbed his tail and then lifted him up in the current, pushed him, and then he pulsed away really strong. So
Congrats, Mike.
that was a pleasing moment, that's for sure.
Micky Mike.
Oh man, that's sort of freaky. Because I mean, the conventional wisdom suggests that you you fish, you know, maybe a couple of hours after dark with a mouse pattern, and you sort of said to me, oh look, we'd put a couple of casts, dog wasn't doing anything, probably parked up waiting for later to feed on them. No, chuck a mouse on, oh yeah, and we stripped them right by him within 6 inches. And I finally thought, oh, why not? I slapped one in front of his nose, landed there, twitch twice,
Boom.
and he snapped at it. So,
Congrats.
better to be lucky than good, eh?
Man, looks good.
I hope it is. It's a little bit freestyle.
Yeah.
I think it should be good. Even with some healthy stuff in it.
Yeah.
Like spring onions and tofu and garlic, lots of garlic.
Yeah. Liberal dosings of garlic.
Yes, and we also have some avocado.
Ooh.
Yes.
We likey. Coming off a pretty euphoric night last night, landing a huge fish. It bottomed out the 14-pound weigh net, so maybe in the neighbourhood of, we think, around 17 pounds. Could be bigger, just really hard. Don't want to overplay it. With another stunning day in store, we head off to fish a gorgy section of the main river. A short walk down a side creek brings us to the day's start point.
Found a little bit out of the way.
No footprints.
Yeah, no one's around by the look of it.
And the weather is good, and the fish are happy.
Yeah, we've seen a couple. They've been deeper. They've been a bit tricky to tame, but they seem to be just starting to feed now. And looking up the river, it looks absolutely superb.
Hope we're gonna have a good day.
As with the last 2 days, the fish will likely prove hard to tempt in the morning, before warming to their task in the afternoon. Our success on a few big fish so far has allowed us the luxury of trying to get a few on dries, even if they're obviously nymphing. A few on large terrestrial patterns would be the icing on a very rich cake.
Oh yeah, a very close look to that one.
As the morning hours tick by, the fish aren't looking up as we hoped, and the ones that do often shy away at the last moment.
Just left of him. That's it. Oh, that's a double. Easy double. They've looked a few times. They've come over and looked at it. They won't take it. That's it. This time. Nope.
I find a monster lying in a soft eye, swaying gently. In light of the dry fly refusals, I opt for a small weighted nymph. He takes the fly, but I mistime the set.
That was at way over 10 pounds.
I just bumped him. I just felt a tiny touch. So I could see when I lifted, I was probably late, and he turned with the fly. Right fly, right technique. I think we've got to get rid of the dries, eh? Yeah. Not much though. Almost went over him. He didn't really.
We soon find a happier looking fish and yarns up with a dry dropper.
That's good. Going over top of him now. Watching the dry. Yeah, had it. Bad luck.
That can't be.
Yeah, look, you can hit them straight away, everything's right. Sometimes, as I said, not an exact science. Sometimes it just pulls out.
There are a few fish in this broad shallow run, but only the smaller fish at the top is active. I'm lining them up with a small soft tackle nymph.
It's not always about the size of the fish, often about how you catch them.
It's nice to finally be on the board. And while it's great catching fish in a place like this and on a day like this, the big fish urge is building once again. It doesn't take too long to find one. We walked up and both looked over and went, "Ooh, geez, look at that." And it looked a big fish, and there was a smaller one ahead of it rising. And I said to you, mate, I want to get the back fish. He's a big fish, and the only way to do it, and what I quite enjoy doing, is sort of the high stick technique, and get in a couple of a double tungsten nymph and a lighter, again the old swimming mayfly, little beaded nymph, little 16, and got just slightly above of being opposite him, and had to land the flies on the tail of the above fish and get it down quickly to the back one. And it took, I don't know, maybe half a dozen casts, and finally got one in the right place, and just see him swing over, a little bit of elevation, wide of the mouth, and lift it into him.
Yep.
It's in the first few moments after a hookup that you get a feel for what a trophy trout might throw at you. And this big heavy fish soon made it clear he wasn't going to hang about in this pool for long. And he took me for a hell of a run downstream.
That run was ridiculous. Oh, he's a double alright though. Got to thinking about tailing him there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Tiny little fly. Got a second fly to get it down there.
And that, again, it was around the 11-pound mark. Much longer fish. Not as bulky as yours, but that was a beauty. Being so visual, I think I enjoyed that as much as any of them, to be honest.
Yeah, another beautiful trophy brown. Magnificent fish. Just again, very, very healthy specimen. All right, time to go, eh? Off you go, fella.
We're taking a side each to explore the remaining gorge water before the valley opens up a few hundred metres upstream. We found a fish that looks a good prospect for a terrestrial pattern, so I quickly tie one on.
Boom! Nice work, mate. You really wanted that.
Yeah, just had to get a little bit closer. Yeah, well, first one that stuck, yeah, or yesterday we had a bit of a mare until you nailed that one. We had a few missed, but yeah, just working on his ride a little bit. Just trying to go out into the fast water and then ease across just a little until he finally saw it. He wasn't locked in on them, so once he finally saw it, if he was looking up, he would have taken those earlier ones probably.
There we go.
Bloody feisty little buggers. Jeez. Well, that was cool. We sort of made a bit of a, after checking out a small river yesterday, and the fish were eating cicadas beautifully in the evening. We made a mission today to try and get a few on the big dries, and we've already had a couple of eats. So this guy fishing a borrowed rod today because I've left my kit in my wagon up in Jan's car, but that's a lovely fish. Beautiful solid 6-pound henfish. Good pair, eh? Oh well, see if we get some more, eh?
Jan spotted another brown, and of course another terrestrial pattern is soon sailing towards the unsuspecting fish.
Yeah, well done, mate.
There's one thing for certain. This man loves his fishing as much as anyone I know.
Well, she's dry fly day today, buddy.
Yeah, second fish on the cicada, and it's not even 11 yet. Not the biggest one, but the take was certainly very, very cool.
Yeah.
And let him go.
That was efficient work.
We're gonna have an interesting day.
The whole thing took about 2 minutes. Yeah, I think we will. It looks pretty good. There's people here. We've seen footprints and people have been around, but the fish are happy.
Yeah, definitely.
It's more about the mood of the fish than how many people have been here.
Yeah, and they're on today.
Yep. Like a medium length cast it and see if he'll come out. So to set the scene here, we've seen a fish come out and hit a dry out from under the undercut here, and Jan's just going to poke a sort of medium sized terrestrial in there and see what happens. Lift. Yeah, nice. Beautiful, nice covering.
Jeez, they can hide underneath those banks, huh?
Yeah.
I can't hold him.
That's right.
No, I don't want to mess
Best you
up
can.
the pool.
Back down we go. Well done. It's a lovely fish, mate.
Yeah, it is. We got one underneath a bank with a cicada. It just came up and smashed it.
Yep. Just roll this back over a little bit that way. There we go.
Nice
Beautiful.
fish. Very good. So I think it's your turn now.
Ooh,
Ooh,
you like that?
you like it?
You see well over there? Another fish sitting there might take a cicada, so you can't see under here, but I'm smiling. Oh, he went the other way. He went out left and took something else. Oh, there was another fish in there. It was the second one. You know, I said there was a spot down here?
Yeah.
He took off. Same time. Good fun, eh? Looking at the right time, folks.
It's a healthy fish.
Cool. That's another lovely fish.
Hopped on a
Few-
cicada.
Yeah, a few new recruits in the system, I think. Okay. Whoop, sorry, fella. Off you go. Well, do a lot of bloody guiding over the season, and I've taken a little bit of time off over cicada time. Maybe get a few on dries myself. I've missed out for quite a few years, so bit of a privilege to be here with you and doing it, and the fish are actually doing what we hoped. Doesn't often happen. It's finally time to head back to the wagon and the comfort of the hut. It's been an enthralling day on the river, where, although it wasn't easy, enough good fish hit dries to leave us thoroughly satisfied. Plus, of course, another trophy brown to the bank.
there were people in front of us, so we knew we were up against it. But to catch 8 fish for the day, missed a few on little terrestrials. Well, that was magic fun. You'd spot them in the clear water. They would looked pretty comfortable. All it took was one cast of a terrestrial and they'd swing straight up and suck it down. Smaller fish, they were nice fish, some of them, but great fun, you know. Size is only relative, I guess.
Not always, though.
Try to convince you of that, yeah. Right, spotted our first fish for the morning.
I think
Pretty
that
sort
was
of-
quite good.
Yep. Now thoroughly infected with the dry fly bug, Jan has tied on another big terrestrial pattern with a small nymph underneath. The normally clear water is strangely milky though, suggesting maybe a slip upstream, as the further we venture, the more coloured it gets. The brown, of course, takes the big dry.
Well, buddy, another cracking fish, this time on a dry fly after it refused a bunch of nymphs.
Yeah, you refused also the dry and then you put the nymph on it and then you took the dry. It's beautiful fish, healthy fish. First thing in the morning.
Yeah, gorgeous.
Gorgeous fish.
Gateway, guys. Nice.
Very nice. Woo. Ah.
I think that was quite good.
Soon after I spy one hugging the near edge of a stable run. They're not easy to see, but this one showed himself as he elevated to take a nymph. A few passes with a sunken beetle pattern gets a look, but no take.
He's looking at it.
On goes the cicada dry.
Nice, Mike. First cast, first fish.
He's solid. Just a slow, hard. Oh, you little shit. I'm gonna have to go with him. Funny, the water's pretty discoloured here because of a slip upstream, apparently. And so it's a bit harder to find them, but you can find them a little easier to catch them.
It's about now I realise he's a bit bigger than I first thought.
it got jammed on the rock. Well, nice third cast. 2 casts with the beetle didn't really work, and first cast with that little terrestrial, and this boy come up and nailed it.
On the dry.
Beautiful fish, absolutely gorgeous. Okay, off you go, buddy.
We've arrived at the cause of the discoloured water, a slump in the clay bank. So back here, just on that corner there's a slip, putting a lot of colour in, a lot of silty colour. But now, past the slip, it's absolutely crystal clear. So they're probably going to be easier to see and harder to catch.
Yep.
I've worked in behind another fish, and it's with confidence that I'm throwing a cicada at him. After 2 perfect casts and no luck, I've added a weighted nymph below.
Took the dry, yeah?
Add a nymph, get him on the dry. How often? Okay. Ooh. It's a bit of a marked old fish. I wish I had $1 for every time you've thrown a dry at a fish and it's looked a few times and refused it, added the nymph and then it's taken the dry. It's like it gives them a wee incentive to come up. But that's absolute football of a fish. Really heavy for his size, for his length. Yeah, that boy. That's stunning. Whew. Anyway. Off you go, fella. Woo.
It's getting late in the afternoon, and although we check out a few more pools, nothing else hits the net. With a long drive ahead of us, it's time to draw the curtain on 5 days of superb fishing under blue skies. The highs and lows, banter, huge fish, and some great dry fly action to top it all off has combined to make it a trip for the ages, and one I'll remember for a long time. One thing is for certain, is that we achieved something we set out to do, land a trophy trout each. That in itself is something very special indeed. As always, it's sad to leave, but even as we embark on the long drive home, I'm quietly planning another trip into the wilderness. And a young couple I know love this sort of fishing as much as I do. A quick phone call confirms their availability, and a plan is made for a day trip in a few weeks' time.